Here's something you might not know about me. Right after high school, I lost a ton of weight. Just, worked out, ate better, went from husky to now. I haven't questioned that decision for even a single second until I saw the Big Belly Burger in this movie. Okay? Because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is because there's burgers in all kinds of movies. Something about this burger, man. I don't know what it is, but it raised some questions about some life choices of mine. Hey, what's up? I'm John Bonjour. I'm an artist and a film enthusiast. Blue Beetle just came out and I want to talk about it. It's kind of the last DCEU movie and then also kind of the first DCU movie. James Gunn said it's like the first DCU character, but maybe not the first DCU movie. I don't know. It's confusing. The point is, I hope this Blue Beetle stays because he's really fun. I'm going to keep this video relatively spoiler-free. There's going to be a couple of things that kind of touch on some of the end stuff, but I'll keep it as vague as possible for two reasons. The first is that this movie I legitimately think is worth seeing, and I know that, especially after Flash, probably a lot of people aren't going to, so I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go see it. It's a really good movie. And the second reason is because I like to think that I am better than whoever marketed this movie. If you saw that second trailer, it's definitely going to spoil more than I do. All right, let's dig in. Blue Beetle is, first and foremost, an absolute blast. I feel like in terms of superhero movies, it's not revolutionary. It doesn't bring anything crazy new to the table, but what it is fresh. It's got feelings, little hints of Spider-Man and Venom, and a little bit of Watchmen in some of the character work, which I know there's, some of the characters in Watchmen were kind of based on the original Blue Beetle, so there's crossover there. But no matter what this pulls from, and it really does pull a lot from quite a few different directions, it kind of doesn't matter because it really is something pretty fresh and unique. I think the thing that makes this movie work more than anything else is the family dynamic. I know I'm not the first one to say that, and I probably won't be the last. The family in this movie is hilarious and just genuinely fun to be around. I feel like it's a really big swing to involve a superhero's family in a lot of their story. Completely paid off for me. Each character feels special to themselves. They bring something to the team, if you want to call them that. And it brings a really fun energy that I feel like you really couldn't get with anything other than maybe like a Miss Marvel kind of deal, but even then. The standout in that family and in this movie as a whole is Xolo Maridueña, the Blue Beetle. He's fantastic. So he was great in Cobra Kai, and I see exactly why they cast him for this role because this movie has a very specific blend of heartfelt and exciting and also kind of cheesy. Blue Beetle, for the energy that this movie goes for, needs to be cheesy but completely genuine the whole time. And he nails it. I cannot think of another actor that could play this character with the same excitement and joy that he does. Not to mention, added benefit, he really brings it when it comes to the action choreography. The action as a whole through this movie is really exciting. That is a selling point. There isn't a ton of it. There's not as much of it as you kind of expect going into a superhero movie. Especially nowadays, we're kind of used to these action character, back and forth kind of scenes. And that's really not what you get here. I feel like this is more than anything a character-based story. And then there's some great action sequences kind of thrown in there, which honestly kind of serves it well in my opinion. When they do happen, they really hit. I'd say the weakest part of this movie, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, the villain is not great. Susan Sarandon plays Victoria Cord, and she does okay. I mean, like she brings an interesting energy to the kind of military head of industrial corporations character. But at the end of the day, it's still that character, and as much as they might try to hide her intentions behind some greater good thing, it's not subtle. Like her whole character is just, I want to do bad stuff because bad stuff gets me money. I feel like if this movie tried to invest me in this villain and make me feel like she was a, good character or someone to think about on any level, then I would have a problem with her not really working. But even the film itself is just kind of like,
okay, yeah, I mean, we gotta have a villain, so I guess we'll put a scene of her shouting at somebody. Okay, whatever, might as well.
Which honestly is kind of funny and not super new to the superhero genre. There's plenty of villains that are completely forgettable and it doesn't really matter because you're not there for the villain. Just to be clear, this is absolutely not a reflection of Carapax, the, like I said, more physical villain. He's perfect. every scene that he's in where he's being like back up in some, big shindig for Victoria Cord, he he moves around like a shark. There's a great scene where Victoria is talking to like a general and she's talking about, the new weapon that they're building. And in the background, he's just like, it's the funniest thing I have ever seen. No notes. This guy's perfect. And then when he gets his big red robot suit to fight Blue Beetle, he works great in that. Honestly, the CGI for his character looked so good that I spent a majority of this movie trying to figure out how this $120 million movie looked so much better than the $2 to maybe $400 million Flash. It's a little unclear because of some of the delays, reshoots, all that. And then I realized that the reason this movie works so much better visually than The Flash does is because it's not 98% CGI. Blue Beetle's suit is a physical suit, and it shows. Like, it is a costume that he put on, and they just filmed it with a camera and then added some CGI elements to enhance it. How is that not what we've been doing the whole time? Like, how is that not the baseline for what you do? I feel like most superhero costumes now, especially like the form-fitting ones, they're all CGI all the time, which is insane to me because it always looks better in the shots where they're real. Maybe it's just cheaper to use CGI. I don't know. Maybe it's just easier. I'm not sure. But put the work in. It's worth it. And this movie shows it. Sorry, I'm on a tangent. Jumping back on board. One of the things that I don't totally love about this movie, and it's a tiny little nitpick, it really doesn't matter. The heads-up display for the Scarab for Blue Beetle, it does not look good. Anytime we see from his perspective, I feel like I'm playing a cool math game. I'm not sure what they were thinking with that because his suit design is so good and Carapax's suit design is so good. And yet somehow we couldn't figure out a heads-up display. Also, if we're praising the CGI, can I just give a little counterpoint to that and say the flamingos, I don't know why. They always look like just shit. I don't know why they look terrible all the time, but they're really, 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 really bad. And it's like, just don't have flamingos. But then I have to come back to, when I do have any visual complaints about this movie, this thing was supposed to release on HBO Max. This was supposed to be a straight-to-streaming movie. And then whoever makes this decision at Warner Brothers saw this movie, same with Evil Dead, by the way, and went, hey, this is good enough. Let's put it in theaters. Couldn't agree more. So yeah, I have a couple of visual complaints. I always have a couple of visual complaints. I'm an artist. It's what we do. But outside of my minor nitpicks, I can't stress enough, I really, really, really liked this movie. This doesn't feel like they came into it trying to make some new IP. It doesn't feel like they went, we haven't made a whatever movie in so many years. Like, guess we ought to do that. Like, somebody came to this and made a movie that they wanted to make around the character of Blue Beetle. That's what we got to be doing. If we're going to avoid this whole superhero fatigue, which I think doesn't exist, honestly, the way to do it is with these kind of mid-budget, well-made, character-oriented pieces. You know what else falls under that description? Iron Man. Most of the Spider-Man movies. Some of the Spider-Man movies. How about Matt Reeves as the Batman? All of the best superhero movies. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. All of the best movies were made based on character and story. On some level, I'm not saying that all of them are these indie drama character pieces, but all of the best stories that we have characters that we connect with on some level. Maybe it's love, maybe it's hate, but good character, good story, that's what makes a good movie. And Blue Beetle has that in spades. So sure, does it borrow a little bit conceptually from a Venom movie? Yeah, definitely. Does it feel a little bit like an early 2000s superhero movie? It does. Who cares? I connected with this story. This meant something to me because it meant something to the people that made it. So keep making that kind of stuff. And go see Blue Beetle because it definitely deserves to make more money than it probably will, if we're being honest. Thank you for watching my video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear some more of my thoughts on movies, shows, comics, I don't know, like what kind of water bottle is my favorite, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below what you want me to talk about. Or do none of that because I'm not your dad.